Let us use this simple example here to demonstrate the relationship between ratios and fractions. A ratio is another term for fraction. This question says that 3% of an amount, 3% of an amount is $7.50. So what is 60% of that amount? Okay. When you see this thing, you think of ratios and percentages. And there are two ways to handle such a problem. The first is a bit longer than the second one. This is a very simple problem, but I would use it to demonstrate some principles about ratios and percentages. Okay. When you hear of ratio, think of percentages. So if, for example, I say that in a group of people, the ratio of females to male is 3:5. What I'm saying is that female, in a group of people, female, that is ratio of female to male is, say, 2:5. Okay. All that I'm saying is that if you take female and you divide them by the ratio of female to male, you put male here. Female is 2 and male is 5, which means that female divided by a number of male equals to 2/5. So the ratio of female to male is 2/5. I can say it in words like this, but it is really a fraction, 2/5. So what this one is saying is that use this what I've just said to handle this problem. So the ratio of percentage, ratio of percent to amount. You can have a ratio of anything, of two different properties. Ratio is a rate. So the ratio of my salary to your salary, the ratio of our heights, okay? So it's a rate, something to something is a fraction. So ratio of percent to amount over here. So percent to amount. So we can say that 3% is to $750. Okay. All right. It's to $750. So let's erase this and go through it again. So we are saying that 3%, let's write this in fraction now. 3% over $7.5. Okay. That is how it is. That is how the statement is actually saying. The fraction of percent of the ratio of percent to amount is this one here. So, as I said, we can do this in two ways. Let's go through it the longer way and then the shorter way. Okay. So, if we have this, we can find the amount of 100%. Okay. If 3% gives us 7.5, what about 100%? So that is another ratio. So because we put percent, the 3% up, our 100% will go up. If we turn it down, then the 100% will come down. But we don't know the number the amount when it is 100%. Okay, we know that when it is 3%, the amount is $750. So when it is 100%, what is the amount? But the ratio is the same. So the ratio of the percent to our 750 is the same as the ratio of 100 to the amount that we are looking for. Okay, so always try to turn your statement into fractions. So this is a percent. You can leave out the percentage if you want. Okay, so let's leave out the percent. This fraction equals to this fraction. Let me repeat. We were given a percentage and then the amount as a ratio. But we can write it in fraction like this. Okay, so if 3% gives us 7.5, what about 100%? And we can formulate that one too here. So this is called, we've got two fractions on the another side of the equal to sign, and we can do what we call cross multiplication. Cross multiply. We can cross multiply. So cross multiplication means we can multiply the 3 and the x, which will be equal to 7.5 times 100. So let's multiply this and this. This will give us 3x, that is 3 times x, should be equal to 7.5 times 100. 7.50 times 100. Okay, so 3x equals to 750. Okay, is it 25? So x will give us $250. X will give us $250. So the 100% of the amount is $250. Okay, 100% of the amount is $250. If 3% is $7.50, 100% is $250. But we want to find the amount at 60%. 60%. Now, so let's find 60% of this. If this is 100%, what is 60%? So 60 over 100, 60%. 60% is 60 over 100 times 250 times 250. Okay, we can cancel them and we get, so 60% of the amount represent $150. Okay, 50% of the amount represents $150. So whenever you see such a problem, try and think of fractions, even though the program may be stated in ratios. Turn the ratios into fractions. And then if they say that, let's say, let's say you have A, you have two amounts, one is A, the other is B. When one amount is A, the other is B. When it is 3%, the other is 750. So when the one amount is A, at the same time the other is B. What is B when A becomes A1? Okay, what is B? How much is B when A becomes A1? When A is A, B is B. But what becomes of B when A becomes A1? This is a ratio. So you will see that A over B equals to A1 over whatever B will be. Whatever B will be. So you solve for B. You can solve for B here. That will our X value will be the net value of B. So if you have, always try to turn your problem into such a situation. If I give you A, and I say when A is this amount, this is the amount of B. What happens to B when A becomes A1? When A increases or decreases to this? And then you can form a ratio. So A over B equals to A1, and we want the B here over whatever B will be. So we've gone through this the longer way, finding 150, let's go through it again. It's the same principle, but a bit shorter. Okay, we have the 3 will give us $7.50. This is the same as, what about 60%? What about 60%? 60% will give us what amount? 60% will give us what amount? So you can formulate your ratio. 3 will give us 750. So 60% will give us what? And so we have the same problem here. So it's 3 times x, 3 times x cross multiply, this times this equals to this times this. So 3 times x equals to 60 times 750. Okay, and when you work it out, you should get the same $150. So this one will cancel this one will go here 20. Multiply 20 by 7.5 and you get 150. So always when you are given problems in ratios, try and think of percentage of fractions, and try and compare 2 fractions and then solve for the unknown.